Well, this is an exciting year for us. Coming off of last year, so many newcomers. Certainly, we were completely new in the circle, and falling short of making the conference tournament is not something that this program's used to doing. So we have a motivated group of young ladies. We have a motivated coaching staff. And with that being said, and with some returners and some more experience than last year, one thing we've done is we've upped our preseason schedule and upped the level of competition we're going to face. And we're going to do our best to be as prepared for Big East play as we can. And, we understand our preseason conference, pre-conference schedule is pretty tough, yet, everything we do is in preparation for the Big East.
A good thing as a coach is see your team pick kind of low and kind of instant motivator for the girls that you don't have to say anything.
No, we just have to tell them what we were picked. It's been a while since we've been picked that low, and certainly we've only been in the Big East now our third year, and I can't remember when we were picked fifth in the Valley. So it should be a motivating presence for them and a motivator for them, and I believe it is. So.
The girls said that this weekend, in record-wise, didn't go as
No.
you hoped, but
No.
in every game, Michaela said that you saw signs that you were right there in each game. Is that a positive that you can take out of a game like that?
You have to look when your record's 1-4. You certainly have to look for positives, and there were positives. For 4 and 5 innings in any given game, we played pretty well. Games are 7 innings or longer, depending if the game's tied. So, while we showed glimpses of being pretty consistent and able to compete with some good teams, our goal is to be able to do it and complete the game. And, so consistency is a must. We were not very consistent in any facet of our game. And then just competing, it's getting out there and playing. We played 5 games in a short period of time, and 4 of them, and the first 4 games were within 24 hours. And it was warmer than we're used to, and I know it was gorgeous here, but they weren't used to the heat. It was 89, 90 degrees and 4 games in 90-degree weather, and then trying to compete for those games that there's newcomers that certainly aren't used to that. So, those are things we're looking for, but it's going to start with consistency and then the ability to finish games. Yeah.
Do you go in to say, hey, there's 1 and 1A, or do you say, hey, she's going to be the number 1, she's going to be dispelled?
Yeah, we're going to need our entire staff, but, the 2 returners are going to be right there competing head-to-head, and depending on matchups probably is who throws game 1 or game 2. At the end of the day and at the end of the season, a win counts as a win, whether it's in the regular season or conference. So we need to get wins, and sometimes it might be matchups. But not only are we going to need those 2 returners, Michael Hilton, a left-handed freshman, gave us a little bit of mound time, and we need her to be able to contribute more than she did this last weekend. So I think you'll see that as the season goes. You may not see it as much early, but I hope that she'll be able to contribute more as the season goes on. Yeah.
From there,
Yeah.
What do you take out of, some of the offensive struggles? Do you just say chalk it up to tough pitching and early in the season, or how do you approach
Well, we talked a lot about making it personal in a batter's box. It's a team sport, but it's an individual competition. And I said all the way back to my days in Little League, if I was 0 for 2, going up that third at bat, I said I need to get a hit to be 1 for 3 at the end of the day. So, they all know that, and we've reminded them, hey, it's an individual competition as you and that pitcher. My assistants, who both had really good careers here, reminded, hey, we weren't going to let someone beat us. You may get me once, but you're not going to get me a second or third time. So we reminded them about competing in the batter's box. And then part of it is the competition we were facing for sure. And I would say the other part of it is, typically just being outside, it's a little different. The ball moves a little better. And so hopefully we see a jump offensively. But we want to see them compete better in the batter's box than they did.
Fred, when you look at this Big East conference, you've been in it a few years now. How tough is the competition in this league?
It's a good league. It's a better league than people think it is. It does not get the respect it deserves. It is a better offensive league, in my opinion, than what the Missouri Valley was. And as I have reminded our players, our reputation doesn't mean too much from the Valley days in the Big East. In fact, I think it really motivated some Big East opponents in the last couple of years. So while in past years, if Creighton had a 2-0 lead going in, maybe wouldn't think they were going to be able to score and come back. Those days are over, and we need to re-earn that reputation, and that's something that we're striving to do this year.
How do you do that? How do you turn that around?
We need to be tougher mentally. We need to go out and compete the entire game, and then you need to win. I think the best reputation you have is when you go out and beat people. And, you know, we had a decent year our first year in the league and qualified for the conference tournament. Last year we had some nice wins. We beat DePaul on the road, and we gave St. John's their first win. We just were not consistent. So this year it's about being consistent. It's about getting back to the conference tournament for sure, since we didn't make it last year. But we need to also start talking about competing for championships.
Anything else for Coach?
Okay, does that stick with you guys?
Compared to how we finished last year, fifth might look like a good placing, but that's not something that we're satisfied with. We're aiming to place a lot higher than that. I mean, our goal is set on winning the Big East, and I think that that's realistic for this team. Our first outing obviously didn't go the way that we planned, but we had opportunity in each one of those games that we could have came out on top, and certain things did prevent that, but it was definitely there, and you could see it with our team that those teams were beatable for us.
Like, what when you see fifth in the Big East preseason poll, what strikes you when you see that, when you read that?
I think Michaela said it really well. Just our one thing will be not beating ourselves. We have to go out there, and like she said, those were winnable games. We just ended up beating ourselves in that aspect.
What do you think the strength of this team will be?
The strength of our team?
Yeah. Obviously, pitching, and don't pat yourself on the back.
No. I think the strength is, I mean, maybe it didn't show as much this weekend, but we do have a lot of depth. We're definitely getting better at pushing each other at practice, getting more people in certain positions, and although we didn't want to rotate as much as we did this last weekend, I think that we found that we have multiple options at each spot, and I think that's going to be important for us. It allows us to really push each other at practice and gives us good competition on our own team.
Blake, offensively, you guys faced some pretty good challenges in the circle, you know, this last weekend. What do you expect to, you know, get from that experience, and how do you guys, you know, kind of settle in and then find a groove offensively?
So this past weekend, obviously, we had some good competition. We just need to learn from what we did this weekend and continue to move forward. We're working on some things that might have been our weaknesses this weekend. We're working forward on that and then going forward this next weekend.
I would say St. John's. That one, after they came here for us last year, that turned into a pretty big rivalry match pretty quickly. It got intense and really loud game and high energy for us. So I think that that'll stick, especially since this year we're going to go play them on their home field. I think that's really important for us to get that victory. And I know, well, we say obviously our biggest goal is Big East champs. That's another one of them, is to go beat them on their home turf.
There's kind of a lot of gamesmanship in that series last year between the two of your teams. Do you expect more of that? How much do you see in softball? Is that a regular thing every weekend, or is that kind of a unique thing with you guys in St. John's?
I'd say it's definitely there. The games are more fun when it's there, I'd say.
There was a lot of it with St. John's, really.
Yeah.
Us sticking with our team and coming at them together, and then they stuck together really well too. So it just ended up a big rivalry.
Yeah.